Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a newly buffed Pokemon in the Season 17 balance patch, and that is Triple Axel being given to Cryogonal. Cryogonal is a pure Ice-type Pokemon with the moveset of Ice Shard, Night Slash, and now it has Triple Axel. So Triple Axel does give it a consistent Ice-type move that is going to get a guaranteed attack buff. Cryogonal typically hasn't seen much play in the Open Great League, so today I'm going to be testing it out in the Retro Cup. To start with, I paired it up with a Charjabug and a Lickitung. Lickitung didn't feel the greatest in the meta, so I ended up switching to a Vigoroth. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Triple Axel Cryogonal in action. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty decent lead, leading the Charjabug into Hypno. Hypno, of course, is going to take super effective damage from the X-Scissor, so my opponent will commit a shield. I save switch into Lickitung, opponent is going to send in Dewgong. So it looks like in this first match, the opponent doesn't have a great response to Lickitung, but don't worry, that is going to change in future matches. The Lickitung save switch worked out well for me in this battle, but as the battles went on, I saw a ton of Vigoroths just absolutely crushing the Licky save switch, so I ended up having to make an adjustment. I'm going to fire off the Body Slam into the Dewgong. Dewgong is going to be firing off a charge move. It's very low on HP here. They're going to go for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind will connect. I'm going to send in Cryogonal and get the double resisted Ice Shard farm down. Now I leave with energy. Opponent gonna send in Wall Rain. I'm farming up with Cryogonal. This is a situation where it would potentially be nice to have access to Solar Beam. I decided to go for the double resisted Triple Axel in case they respected the Solar Beam, but unfortunately they did not. I'm boosted now, but the Triple Axel did almost no damage. Opponent sends in Hypno, but I'm boosted here. So I'm going to commit the shield, and now let's see what a boosted Cryogonal can do. I'm going to be firing off the Night Slash into the Hypno. Boosted Night Slash is going to do some pretty solid chip damage. I'm farming up quite a lot of energy here. I'm going to switch into the Lickitung and snipe with the Lick damage. In comes the Wall Rain. I'm able to make it to the Power Whip. Power Whip is going to hit for some pretty nice damage. Opponent is going to no shield on the Wall Rain. And unfortunately for the opponent, there's just no longer a win con here. I'm able to make it to the back-to-back Night Slashes on Cryogonal. Opponent shields the first, and I'm able to fire off Night Slash number 2. So Triple Axel, unfortunately, didn't do a whole lot in that first game. I was really hoping they would respect the Solar Beam, but they did not. So the Triple Axel that I threw ended up not being the greatest idea. Hopping into the next match, and we see a massive Core Breaker on the lead as a lead Charjabug into Dunsparce. I farm up with the Charjabug, and I'm firing off the X-Scissor on perfect timing. My opponent probably going to want to go for one rollout in the move to throw on good timing, so I just throw right away. My opponent is now over 100 energy. They throw one and the move again trying to go for good timing. I'm able to switch into the Lickitung to absorb this damage as the opponent fires off the Drill Run. They're firing off more energy with the Dunsparce, and I'm perfectly fine with taking this damage on the Lickitung. Opponent gonna continue to farm up with the Dunsparce. I throw the Body Slam, but I mistime it. I meant to throw just before they could switch, but unfortunately I throw it on alignment, allowing my opponent to make a catch onto Altaria. A pretty big mistake by me, as now I have to worry about that Dunsparce having a loaded charge move lurking somewhere in the back. I continue to farm up with the Lickitung. I'm making it to another Body Slam, looking to put some pressure onto Altaria. Body Slam will be shielded. Switch clock is up. In comes Cryogonal, and they have a lot of energy on the Altaria. I decide to commit the shield. Altaria is going to go for the Sky Attack. We do get the Ice Shard farm down of the Altaria. Is the opponent going to be sending the Dunsparce here, or do we see the final Pokemon in the back? They have their own Lickitung, and I'm firing off the Triple Axel right away. Let's start boosting up the attack of Cryogonal. Cryogonal now doing extra damage to the Lickitung. Lickitung can go for a Body Slam. It's going to do some pretty solid damage to Cryogonal, but Cryogonal able to withstand. Cryogonal continuing to farm and going for another Triple Axel. This will be getting the Lickitung low. Lickitung is going to let that through. I continue to farm up with Cryogonal. I just fall short of making it to the Night Slash. I'm going to send in my own Licky to force my opponent to throw their energy here. And now, this should be a winning endgame, but you're going to see me make a crucial mistake. I send in the Dunsparce. Dunsparce can tank one. What I should do here is throw the X-Scissor as soon as I get it to deny them making it to another move. Because now, if I shield this, they can go for a combo play, and it's a normal type switching into a normal type, so I have no visual indicator that the switch happens until it's too late. My opponent makes a beautiful combo play, and I lose the game. Hopping into the next match, leading Charjabug into Altaria. Not the greatest lead ever for the Charjabug. I'm going to stay in here and get some chip damage with a Discharge before I eventually save switch into the Lickitung. I'm firing off the discharge into the Altaria. Altaria is going to no shield. In comes the Lickitung. Opponent sends in the Vigoroth. And this was the start. I believe I had 2 or 3 games in a row where the Lickitung was just answered by Vigoroth again and again and again. These were some of my first games in the Retro Cup, and I ended up realizing very quickly, Lickitung, not it when it comes to a save switch in this meta, as Vigoroth just completely shuts it down. I'm going to be firing off this Body Slam. Body Slam is going to connect into the Vigoroth. Vigoroth will need to throw, or I will make it to the Body Slam, and I get there. So at the very least, I get to force a shield from my opponent, but they have so much energy on this Vigoroth. This is not a good situation to be in. I send in the Charge-a-Bug. Nice charge move timing from my opponent, going for 1 in the move. I commit the shield. It's the Rock Slide. They're firing off another move, and I'm just going to let this through. Opponent, it's another Rock Slide. That gets me low. I'm able to fire off the last second X Scissor, and I have to hope that with Vigoroth out of the way, Cryogonal can sweep. Sending in Cryogonal in the back. It's a Shadow Poliwrath, and I resign the match. After the tough start, I switched to Vigoroth on the save switch, and this switch ended up working out very, very nicely for me, as I believe I was able to close running this updated version of the team on like a 6-in-1 run or so to actually go positive overall with Cryogonal. Granted, I do get a very nice lead in this match, leading the Charge-a-Bug into Superior. X-Scissor connects, doing massive super effective damage, and I'm immediately going for X-Scissor number 2. That will get the knockout. Opponent sends in Lickitung, and I'm more than happy to stay in here because I have a very good check to Lickitung in the back with my Vigoroth. I fire off the X-Scissor, that does some very nice chip damage. Opponent farming up with the Lickitung, and they will go for the Body Slam, denying X-Scissor number 2. That's perfectly fine. That gets the knockout, but now I can send in the Vigoroth, and Vigoroth will do extremely well here. In the back, it's Pelipper, and now this is an opportunity for triple AXEL to shine, as my opponent has shields they can hide behind here. However, you know what you can't shield? Fast move pressure. So instead of going for Night Slashes and hoping for a boost, I'm going to be going for triple AXELs so I can continue to boost up my Ice Shard damage in this matchup. I'm firing off the triple AXEL. Opponent commits the shield. The Ice Shards are beginning to chunk through the Pelipper. I'm going to be using a shield. And you know what? I'm going for another triple AXEL. Let's see how much damage we can do. I actually end up going for a Night Slash here. In hindsight, I probably should have gone for the triple AXEL, but I was thinking that I could make it to 2. Opponent sends in the Lickitung. I can bank the move for later, switch out, and send in the Vigoroth, and I should be in a very comfortable position here, as Body Slam is going to be getting the Lickitung low. Lickitung is going to be firing off its energy, going for the Body Slam. I will get the counter down. In the back, all that's left is the low HP Pelipper, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving into the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead again, Charge-a-Bug into Cresselia. I'm going to be staying in this matchup here, farming up quite a bit of energy, going for the X-Scissor. Opponent plays to the Charge Attack Priority Tie, which is a bit of a surprise, as had I gone for the extra there, I would have gotten 4 free turns of energy and some free damage as well. Future Sight connects, that does quite a lot of damage. I'm farming up, opponent sends in a Glalie. Look at the spice from the opponent, oh my goodness. We've got a battle of spicy ice types on our hands. Let's go. Avalanche does a ton of damage. At this point, the Glalie's frail enough that I've done enough damage that I've comfortably put it into Body Slam range. Body Slam will secure the knockout onto Glalie. In comes their final Pokemon, which is Hypno. Unfortunately, I can't make it to the double Body Slam, so I'm just going to fire off the Rock Slide. I didn't really look up to see whether one Body Slam or one Rock Slide does more. I know Body Slam is definitely going to be better damage per energy. Honestly, I wasn't 100% sure, so I just fired off the Rock Slide. And now I can send in Cryogonal. Opponent is going to fire off the Thunder Punch. I commit the shield. In comes Cresselia. But I can hit the remainder of their team for super effective damage with Night Slash. I'm able to grab the shield. I'm going for Night Slash number 2, just looking to continue to apply pressure onto my opponent. Opponent is going to double shield. They're firing off energy, and I'm just going to let this through on the Cryogonal. It's the Future Sight. That does massive damage. Can I bank a move and switch out? Yes, I can. They're firing off energy into the Charge-a-Bug, but I have energy stored everywhere here. Grass Knot will be shielded. I'm at the back-to-back X-Scissors, and I have the Night Slash on Cryogonal if I need it. I can now fire off the X-Scissor into the Hypno. This is super effective damage, and the Hypno has already taken some damage, so that is going to be enough to get the knockout, and we don't even have to use the Night Slash. Moving into the next match, we're going up against a fellow content creator, Purple Kyogre, as I lead Charjabug into Dragonair. Charjabug can do some pretty nice damage here with X-Scissor, but I do need to check and see if there are counter users lurking in the back. X-Scissor will connect, save switch into the Vigoroth, in comes Poliwrath. That is really not great for the Vigoroth. At the very least, I get to bait this out, and hopefully Cryogonal can do well in the back. I'm farming up with the Vigoroth. Opponent plays to a CMP tie that they do not win, and this should be forcing a shield from the opponent. They are going to have to commit the shield, and I just let this go because even if I shield, I'm getting countered down and losing switch. My opponent is going to zero bubble it to get a little bit of extra energy. Back in comes the Charjabug. Charjabug farming up energy here, and I am going to be committing the shield. Opponent goes for the Icy Wind. That's a guaranteed attack drop, but I will get the farm down. Dragonair does have a move stored. I just go for the Volt Switch, understanding that they were probably going to go for the CMP tie. And now, let's see how much I can overfarm here. I farm up to 100 energy, and I'm going to fire off the X-Scissor. My energy is debuffed here, but I can still do some okay damage. In the back, it's another counter user, and unfortunately, we've kind of just been hard countered here. But let's see what we can do. X-Scissor connects, doesn't do a lot. I'm going to bank an X-Scissor and switch into the Cryogonal. Cryogonal farming up. They've made it to the Rock Slide. This is probably going to be goodbye to Cryogonal. Rock Slide. Oh my goodness. Cryogonal lives at 1 HP. Can we do the impossible? Night Slash gets the shield. It all comes down to this. This X-Scissor has to KO. Going for the X-Scissor into the Vigoroth. Vigoroth with the 1 HP survive, nearly overcoming double counter. And unfortunately, we do lose the game. We've got a problem in the next match as I lead Charjabug into Skeledirge. This is a massive core breaker for the team as the team is ABA weak to fire. I'm going to save switch into Vigoroth because at the very least my back two Pokemon do have moves that can hit the Skeledirge for super effective damage. I commit the shield, they're staying in, so I decide to go for an incredibly risky bait. Body Slam baiting a ghost type and it works. That's absolutely massive. I'm now going to be firing off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide will hit for super effective damage, and the opponent is going to double shield the Dirge. Skeledirge farming up. We're now going to see a switch into Ludicolo, and surprisingly, this is not a Bubble Ludicolo, but a Razor Leaf Ludicolo. Okay. I'm going to be sending back in the Charjabug. Charjabug farming up energy, and I'm going for the X-Scissor right away, as I do not want the Ludicolo to make it to a move. X-Scissor is going to get the knockout. Back in comes the Skeledirge. Skeledirge firing off energy, and I am going to be respecting it with a shield. It's the Disarming Voice. They have the back-to-back here. Can Charjabug hang on? It's just the Disarming Voice. That's not enough to KO. I throw one Volt Switch, and I'm going for the Discharge. I need this to KO. Come on, Charjabug. It gets the KO in the back. It's a Frostlass, and this game might actually be winnable. On the condition that I can live this Shadow Ball. Cryogonal, not the tankiest around, but tanky enough to tank the Shadow Ball. I try and throw one in the move. The game lags and forces an overtap. Either way, I'm still going to win because I'm at the back-to-back Night Slashes there, but definitely not ideal. I'm still going to be able to get the win, but I would really like if those lag or frame drop forced overtaps did not continue in the game. In the next match, we're going up against the battler who I queued into earlier in these sets, back when I was running Lickitung. I'm farming up, going for the Discharge, and I'm going to look to save switch into the Vigoroth. Last time when I played them, I had Lickitung. I send in the Vigoroth, opponent sees the normal typing, thinks it's Lickitung, and they send in the Vigoroth. This was the team that had the Poliwrath in the back. So this is where playing them earlier actually ended up being a small advantage for me, just because my opponent thought that this was a Lickitung based on playing me earlier when I had Lickitung on the team. So they sent in the Vigoroth instead of the Poliwrath, and now I'm actually able to make a play for switch. I'm waiting to see what they send in. I try and go for the Rock Slide, but I click it slightly too late. My opponent is going to fire off the Sky Attack and get the KO. But now in comes Cryogonal. These Ice Shards, double super effective damage, taking down the Altaria. In comes the Poliwrath, and I'm going to send in Charjabug. At this point, Poliwrath has to shield everything, so I feel very safe going for X-Scissors here. They're going to be committing the shield. I continue to farm up. Opponent is just going to be firing off the Icy Wind. Icy Wind, of course, will have a guaranteed attack drop. I'm farming up, and I'm going for another X-Scissor. At this point, they're running out of HP. They have to shield something, so they will shield up the X-Scissor. Opponent, again, very nice charge move timing, throwing one counter and the move. Icy Wind will pick up the knockout. I send in Cryogonal. I'm going for the stab move of Triple Axel. Triple Axel can't quite get the KO, and Cryogonal able to withstand the counters, make it to the Night Slash, flipping the script, taking down the Poliwrath, and getting the win. Hopping to the final match, leading Charjabug into another Cresselia. Again, a very nice lead for the Charjabug. My opponent is staying in, and that works out perfectly for me. I'm going to overfarm by 1, and then go for the X-Scissor. X-Scissor is going to do some very nice damage. Of course, Cresselia very bulky, able to withstand that, no problem. I continue to farm up. Opponent is going to switch into Tentacruel, hoping to catch an X-Scissor, but I'm able to hold on to my energy and fire off the Discharge. Discharge will be shielded up. I continue to farm up with the Charjabug. Opponent makes it to a Scald, and I'm going to immediately shield here. Even if I shield an Acid Spray, it's not awful. And thankfully, the Scald does not debuff. It's a 50-50 coin flip, so the luck is in my favor in this matchup. I fire off the Discharge, I secure the KO. My opponent is going to send in the Cresselia, and I have the X-Scissor ready and waiting for it. X-Scissor gets the shield. I'm now going to switch into the Vigoroth. They have a ton of energy stored on this Cresselia. They fire off the Moonblast. That does quite a lot of damage to the Vigoroth. I continue to farm. They're already at another charge move. That's fine by me. Again, I'm just going to let the Vigoroth go here. Grass Knot will connect. In the back, opponent has Credilli, and I'm going to be firing off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide will hit for neutral damage into Credilli. Credilli going to try and go for a Bullet Seed farm down here, but the Vigoroth has slightly too much health. Able to make it to the Rock Slide. Rock Slide gets Credilli deep into the red, and the 2-turn counter registers before the 3-turn Bullet Seed, and Credilli loses so much energy. I'm farming up with Cryogonal, and I'm looking to finish the fight. They're going to fire off the Grass Knot. Cryogonal going for the Triple Axel. That's the new move after all. Triple Axel is going to secure the knockout onto the Cresselia, securing the win, and surprisingly, securing a 5-0 set as well. All in all, Triple Axel is an interesting side grade for Cryogonal, but unfortunately, it's not enough to address Cryogonal's other issues. Being a mono ice type puts Cryogonal in a really difficult spot, as ice is an extremely poor defensive typing. Ice's only resistance is to other ice types, and it has a lot of weaknesses. That's where having the dual typing, like for example Walrein, having the ice water, can help add a lot of resistances that a pure ice type doesn't have, whereas Cryogonal is stuck with mono ice. And while Triple Axel can provide some interesting win cons in games where you can just boost up the Ice Shard damage doing more and more, unfortunately it's still relegated to a limited meta mon at best, and even in a lot of limited metas there are probably going to just be more consistent options. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.